Oh, no, I can't hear anything at all.
That's why, yeah.
What should I do? Should I?
You can't unmute that. You have to use the...
Oh. I think I've made it too complicated for myself.
Just turn the volume down.
Please bear with us as we get our technical needs taken care of. We just want to make sure they have a good view of everything that Bami is doing today.
Sorry, I had to turn down the volume on my iPad. And then I think that's good. Can you hear me, Christina?
Yeah, I think there might be a little bit of feedback, but I think otherwise you're good.
A little bit what?
Echo.
A little bit echoey?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Just keep.
Oh, I think I may have to unmute myself. Sorry. Hello, Festival of Nations attendees. My name is Bomi Park. I'm with the St. Louis Mosaic Project and the World Trade Center St. Louis. Today I'm gonna make Japachae, which is a Korean dish. I usually attend the festival with the Mosaic and the Sister Cities Committee with the World Trade Center St. Louis. So I've been doing that for 2 years. And before that I was volunteering. And now I get to join you from my home with my 2 cameras. So I'll start cooking. I hope you have been soaking your noodles. I have mine here. It's kind of like the vermicelli noodles. It's a starch noodle that kind of looks like this. I wanted to show you the package. Are you gonna stand there? My husband's standing over there, making sure everything's okay. So the starch noodles is gluten-free. So you can make this dish totally gluten-free and vegan if you substitute the pork with shiitake mushrooms. So first thing I'm gonna do, since I have the noodles ready, I'm gonna cut my vegetables and then I'm gonna start frying them. So I have carrots. I have my carrot peeled already. So maybe I should tell you a little bit about what the name means, Japachae. So chap is mixed or random. So it could mean even like a mutt. So it's a lot of different things, random things. And chae means thinly sliced or cut. So it means a bunch of things cut together. So we're gonna cut a lot of different things. The first thing I'm gonna cut are the carrots. And what we're trying to do here is trying to cut everything to the same size. I don't want you to hear too loud, but so I guess people say French cut, what I'm trying to do right now, but that's not fair because Korean people cut this all the time too. I should cut this, call this Korean cut now. I came to the United States as an exchange student, 2008, and now it's 2020, so that's been 12 years. I've not always been in the States, but for the better part of 12 years, I've been here. So I'm gonna cut the whole carrot. I'll show you what it looks like. So it's a very thin, little carrots. I'm gonna put that right there. I got a new knife and I'm getting used to it. So you keep cutting until they're all looking the same. So to simplify the recipe, you can really cook everything at the same time in one pan. But this is the more legitimate way, the most time-consuming way to making it. But today we're gonna learn it the right way, but it's up to you. If you wanna simplify it, you can cook everything together, meaning, you know, you just cut everything and stir fry them in one pan. But for some reason, it's a lot better if you just individually cook each ingredient. Maybe it's just because it's more loved that way. So now I'm gonna cut an onion. I'm gonna onions are pretty easy. So onions, carrots, and now I can marinate the pork. So I wrote this recipe as I was thinking it in my head, and it made sense to me. So I had to kind of try and make sure that my recipe's really good, because I'm usually an eyeballer. So I might make a few changes after this session, but this is the general idea. So I'm gonna slice the pork to the same size as carrots. So you can swap this out with the mushroom. Shiitake mushroom is really meaty, so that's usually the best one to use. So I'm cutting the meat about the same size, but I know it's gonna shrink a little when it's cooked. So cutting it a little bit longer. So our goal is to make everything kind of similar in the length. So I measured everything this morning, and I felt really silly measuring my carrot on a scale. So I have my meat that I'm gonna marinate in a little bowl. So usually japchae is like a big party food. It's always there when you go to a party, birthday parties, any kind of parties in Korea. It's a very popular dish. So marinating the pork with, I think about a teaspoon of garlic. So I'm gonna chop 2 little cloves of garlic with a tablespoon of garlic, teaspoon of garlic, a tablespoon of soy sauce, and some sugar and some pepper. So you don't have to worry about chopping the garlic too fine. It's just gonna give a taste and soy sauce. So normally I would be just pouring things in as I eyeball. I think a little bit more than a tablespoon. So a little bit more than a tablespoon. And sugar, what did I say? A half tablespoon. Doesn't sound right. Mix that. So soy sauce, garlic, sugar. With this base, you can make like 15 different Korean dishes. This is a base to many, many different, like bulgogi, japchae. You can make bibimbap, which is the mixed rice with the meat. So you can make the meat for bibimbap this way. So you can kind of leave it there. And then we can start cooking. We can start cooking carrots and onions. I'll start the pot. So I can blanch my spinach. Another little bowl to crack my eggs in. So it's kind of a fun way of cooking eggs. We like to cook the eggs, sometimes white parts and yellow parts separate. If we're going really fancy to garnish. But today I'm just gonna scramble them together because the egg whites never turn out really well. First try. And I would hate to fail on camera. And then maybe put a little bit of salt. So this is also going to be cut into a little, you know, kind of like the carrots and onions, how we cut them. So you'll see how it's going to be. Water's going to boil, and in the meantime, I'm going to cook my vegetables other than spinach. So I usually just use vegetable oil or canola oil for frying any vegetables. Sometimes sesame oil, and we'll see the difference here in a short amount of time here. So this is just veggie oil. Cook the cleaner things first. To me, veggie oil, you know, it doesn't have much flavor. So I'm gonna cook that first with onions, and then I'm gonna cook my carrots, but I'm gonna use the sesame oil for that. That's just how it is. I'm gonna cook the carrot, onions first. So you don't wanna really have a mushy texture. So you make sure they're kind of translucent, they're softened, so you don't need too much time on the pan. But if you know how to use chopsticks, it's a really useful tool in the kitchen, not just to eat with. I always a little bit of seasoning and everything, although it's going to be seasoned later altogether. So it really doesn't take much time here. I have a little bit of carrots in there, but that's okay. I'll put this on a plate. And we're in our room here. So we're gonna start fry everything together at the end with the noodles and everything. So we don't want to cook it for too long, and everything's basically good to be eaten raw, uncooked. So you don't have to really worry about how much you need to cook them. Just cook them enough they're not so spicy. So I'm gonna put this in one plate. I'll turn it down a little bit, it's a little hot. So I have a really big thing of sesame oil. Usually they look more like this. But I use quite a bit of sesame oil, so I have a big bottle. So this is about half tablespoon. What did I say in the recipe? Yeah, about a half tablespoon. Yeah, I think that's right. So now we're gonna cook the carrots. And I don't want to burn the carrots. And sesame oil burns easier, so that's why I turned the heat down a bit. Just a little bit more salt. And I really don't like raw carrots, so I'm gonna make sure they're softened up. There's a big piece like this. What a shame. I wonder if anybody's along. That'd be super cool. If you are cooking at some point after watching this, make sure you send it to Christina or myself. My email address is listed in the recipe, so I would love to. Korean cooking's really like 7 different ingredients, making 80 different dishes, and they're very similar in the cooking technique. They're just slightly different, so I think my hair kind of done. My water was boiling faster. I'm gonna salt my water for the spinach. Maybe we can just go ahead and make the meat. So what I'm saying is you can cook everything, the carrots, onions, and the meat all in one pan. You know, just make sure you're cooking things in order. You know, carrots probably take longer. The pork, depending on how big they cut, you cut. You can make them all in one pan if you wanted to. So my water's kind of boiling. I'm gonna cook the meat first. It sounds like it's raining. I could have cut the meat a little thinner, but so whenever the pork is brown, and all the way cooked, you can take them out. Japchae is kind of kids' favorites because they're sweet and salty. It's not spicy, and a lot of Korean dishes are spicy. So this is one of the kids' favorites and adults. So this is basically bulgogi marinade. So you can use for bulgogi. I would just add a little bit more green onions in the sauce and the marinade. It's even better for that. Maybe I can cook a little bit of chicken. You can use meat and mushroom if you want. A lot of the time, people use woodier mushroom. I'm just going to stir in for the last bit of the heat of the meat. I'm going to start into my spinach. I don't think I'm going to take up the whole hour cooking this. So if you have any questions for japchae or any Korean food, I would answer any question, any Korean food question. And except for what's your favorite Korean restaurant question? That's a hard question. I'm gonna take these on the plate. So you're basically more than halfway done. I'm gonna swap out this pot here. I'm gonna cook this spinach for like 30 seconds, 40 seconds. And I gotta be honest, I never soak my noodles ahead of time. I just cook them longer when I'm actually making the dish. This is time for that. Usually we don't. But we'll try it today if it really only takes 30 seconds. We'll see. So my spinach is already really dark green. I'll just use that. And they really don't need much time, as you know. And they just become like 1/10 of the volume before they were cooked. We're gonna stir fry it again, so I think that's good. Let's see if I can strain this up here. That's not a good idea. I need a strainer. So you can season the spinach with a little bit of salt, a little bit of sesame oil. It's gonna be hot, so I'm gonna let it cool for a little bit. So now, I should have been boiling this water. What we can do in the meantime is doing the eggs. Let's do that. Eggs are the fun part because I don't think American cooking has garnish a lot of the times. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think in Korean cooking, there's a lot of garnish. We just like to make things look better than what it actually is. Just kidding. We like to make it even more pretty. So I'm just gonna make sure your pan is coated with oil, but I'm not gonna drown my eggs in oil. And it doesn't take much time. If you're separating your egg whites and egg yolks, then it is very time-consuming, very frustrating. But since we're taking a little bit easier route, it should be okay. Let's swap out. Need a smaller cutting board.
Actually, Domi, I actually have a question. So the garnish, is this similar to how you, the sesame seeds that you use in the bulgogi? I'm sorry if I mispronounced it.
Bulgogi, yeah.
Is that the same? And that for this?
Same idea, yeah. We like to put something on top. Sesame seeds are usually the last, like the garnish of garnish. So my eggs are in. I don't want it to bubble up too much. But sometimes if you have just enough cover the pan, you can lift this whole thing, you know, kind of like egg pancake. But today what I'm gonna do is kind of folding it. I'm gonna start folding that in. It doesn't have to look perfect. We're gonna make it, we're gonna cut it. I'm gonna fold it one more time. Use, maybe I'll just flip this whole thing. And I would normally have had this little bit less brown. But since I make bulgogi in here, I mean marinated pork, a little bit browner. Yeah, I don't really like that. Maybe we'll keep going in while the water boils. I'll show you. About 2 eggs. I think it's best if it's just cleaner. So, my water's not boiling yet anymore. It's really different to tell people how to make this, teach, versus just making it for yourself, you know, a lot more pressure. Ooh. Usually at the festival, I'll probably be getting paella, croquettes, all kinds of yummy goods. But this year I get to do my own food, and we'll do some takeouts this weekend. Okay, my water's boiling too. I'm gonna put the spinach. To bring it out a little, but I'll let it cool a little bit more. Okay. The eggs. Hopefully better this time. Prettier. Because garnish is up, or it looks like. It tastes like eggs, but prettier. Okay, my water's boiling. That's good. Usually we would be making like 5 times as much as this. Nobody makes like just a little bit of japachae because it's for the party. Okay, I'm gonna try to do a better job this time, flipping my eggs. I'm gonna start folding in. That's toward. I think it's gonna look better this time. So I'm just gonna roll. You're going to pan off the remaining heat. Cook the rest. We can kind of make it ready this time. I'm going to put it on the cutting board, let it cool. This in the compost. Now the water is boiling for the noodles. We'll see if it really takes 30 seconds or longer. So you want to kind of stir it, especially if you're cooking it for 10 minutes. They like to stick on the bottom of the pan or the pot. So make sure you watch it. And when they're cooked, they're really, really clear. So that's in 30 seconds, yeah. To try a little. It looks done. I think we can cook a little longer. I soaked mine for like an hour, maybe closer closer to 2 hours is better. But really, if you haven't soaked it, just cook it for 10 minutes. It usually works for me. So that looks good. So now you just put everything together. After you drain your nose. Try one more time. I think that's pour the hot water in the pot I had earlier. Really want to drain the water. Now, you assemble. So the eggs, it looks like this. Different. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna use the best looking parts for the garnish. But you have to eat it all, or your mom would yell at you. Forgot about the spinach, but we'll take care of it. You want to cut this really thin. They end up looking like this. Still kind of hot. They kind of look like this, like a little worm. That's good. Okay, so now we have our spinach, carrots, onions. I could have seasoned the spinach a little bit, but I think I'll live with it. So I have these carrots, meat and shiitake, spinach and onions. So we have 5 different colors with eggs. So that's kind of all what's up now. All the colorful festival light. So I'm gonna stir fry everything together. We may need some soy sauce, garlic, and sugar. So this needs a bit of oil, so just enough to pan and a little bit more, just so the noodles don't get stuck. And let's see, make a little seasoning for it. I'll heat down a little. So I think I said 4 to 5 tablespoons. I'm eyeballing it. Sugar. So usually the ratio for soy sauce and sugar is like 2 to 1. Soy sauce. Sugar. And you know what you like. We're gonna put a good amount of sesame oil. Sesame oil, usually we use like a teaspoon of it. And sesame oil really makes the dish. So I have too many things going on. I think I must have like one of the most complicated steps of recipe. But again, you can cook everything at once if you want it to. Just a little bit more garlic. Once it's done, you're gonna be like, wow, that That's why Korean people make it for rice. Now, this soy sauce, sugar, garlic is gonna season everything. Once I put all the noodles, vegetables together. Really put everything you have to sticking together already. Everything. And just where you mix it. So nothing really needs cooking at this point. Everything's been cooked. You're just making it all come together. And sometimes people cut noodles with scissors. We use scissors in the kitchen all the time, which a lot of people find odd here. Okay, so I need some wood for this. Because my noodles are stubborn. I'm seasoning the noodles with the soy sauce mix I just made. I'm gonna stir fry things. Making sure everything's harmonious. There's no just one big spot with lots of spinach. Unless you really like spinach and you want the corner. So you really want shiny brown noodles. If it's bland, it's really not good. That's why you have to kind of season as you go when you are frying or frying the vegetable. So smelling like to me. Maybe I could put a little bit more of a sauce. When you're playing it, you're gonna make you have everything kind of evenly portioned. So I'm just gonna start frying this. I think it looks done. It's pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna test it off. And we still have eggs to garnish off. Spinach. Okay, so right now it looks like this. Very colorful, festive. This one is even better on the plate. This guy. And once you have leftovers, it fries really well with rice. It's just sometimes Korean people love eating carbs on carbs. So that's a lot of carbs, but it's really good. So I'm gonna put some noodles. Wow, that's like a big clump of noodles. That's why people cut it. Well, let's see. Here, there. Use noodles. And I have all kinds of vegetables here. Just put them, try to put them even. Some more spinach. So sometimes my mom would cook the noodles separately, and she doesn't like stir fry them together. But cook everything else, and cook noodles by itself, and mixes it with ham. I think this looks good. Okay, so went to Instagram, perfect. You can distribute your colors here and there. And the icing on the cake is the eggs. Now I'm gonna use my chopsticks to scoop up these very fragile eggs. I want to make sure they look all individual. Oh, you're out. Prettier one. Like Christina said, sesame seeds. This is the last bit of sesame seeds that I have from Mom when she was visiting 2 years ago. It's in the freezer. Okay. Usually nobody needs to know what your kitchen looks like when you're making your food, but this is what it looks like. I'm done. Christina, was there any question from the attendees?
No questions so far, but I do have one. Do you deliver? So if you have any questions or comments, you can please enter in the chat box or the question box.
Yeah, and I had a bulgogi session a while ago that we have recording of on the page that you found the registration link in. I think the festival under Discover, right? I'm gonna try this.
Yes. Oh, we do have a question. We have several comments that it looks good. How would it be different if I use low sodium soy sauce?
You may use more. Just for your liking. If you like just less salty in general, then it doesn't have to be. I mean, this is not salty, but you do want to give it a color. If you want to use different soy sauce, that's okay too.
Okay. How long have you been making this dish?
I've been always helping my mom in the kitchen since I was very little. So, I don't know, like 15 years. And I'm 28. So, 15 years. How long have I been making? Is there any other question?
No, I think that's everything.
I'm wearing my festival shirt. It's a Sister Cities t-shirt. It's not an official festival t-shirt, but this is from last year. I wanted to say in the beginning, before I was frazzled with all these technical difficulties, that Mosaic and World Trade Center, the Sister Cities, they always have a corner at the festival, the Global Corner. So this year, of course, virtual Global Corner. And we're doing a Sister Cities tour. We have 16 St. Louis Sister Cities. So I would really encourage you to check that out under the Learn tab of the festival. And you get to win a raffle. You have a chance at it if you take the quiz after you watch the facts, the presentation, and little videos of each Sister Cities. So I wanted to say that. And thanks for joining me, just watching me scramble things.
Well, one final question before we wrap up. Does your husband like your cooking?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You get to tell me, not him, so I'm gonna say yes. But yeah, he does.
Well, good. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Join us again this evening at 6 p.m. for Salsa with Carmen Gwen. So after you have this delightful dish, you can get up and dance and work it off. Also, we will be sending out a brief survey to get your feedback from today's event. And once again, thank you for attending, and I hope to see you later this weekend. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Christina.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Balmy.